सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद, श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवास आदि गौर भक्त वृंद। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Thank you very much. I am very grateful for this opportunity today to get to glorify one of the great devotees of the Lord in his incarnation as Lord Ramachandra, and that is Mother Trijata. Many of us definitely will be knowing about her through the various TV serials, and we have seen so many versions of Ramayana coming up. But there is much more I felt that we can learn from this great personality. And I am just seeking blessings and prayers of all my assembled friends and Vaishnavis here, that I can just speak something which can be of use, and it can inspire. Like personally myself, when I was trying to prepare some matter to speak, I got some inspiration, and I just hope and pray that it can just add even some value to all of yours lives, and thus I can serve you all in some very small manner. So thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Okay. So we all basically know about the Ramayana, right? Being in India, Ramayana is one of the very popular, epics that we know about. So I just thought we can just start with a short, just a glimpse about the whole thing. We can just go through, and then start with Trijata Mata. So we all know that how Lord Ramachandra won over Sita Maiya's hand in marriage by lifting that great Shiva Dhanush. That Shiva Dhanush was personally given by Lord Shiva, to the ancestors of Janak Maharaj. In Valmiki Ramayana, actually, is very interesting. We have been recently reading Valmiki Ramayana, and so many details came up so beautifully in that the version of Ramayana. So over there it is explained that how the Shiv Dhanush was actually personally handed over by Lord Shiva to the forefathers of Janak Maharaj, and then later on how that Shiv Dhanush became the kind of the instrument for the meeting of Lord Ram and Sita Devi. So that's how the marriage happens. And then Dashrath Maharaj decides to coronate Lord Ramachandra as the crown prince, Yuvraj of Ayodhya. So Dashrath Maharaj is very old, actually. He's 60,000 years old when when Ramji and his three brothers are born. Dashrath Maharaj is at that time 60,000 years old. Of course, in that time people used to live long, and Dashrath Maharaj is not a ordinary personality, but still, 60,000 is a big number. So then after Ramji, he goes with Vishwamitra Muni, he kills Tataka, and Subahu Marich are delivered by him, and he comes back, and he's staying with Mother Sita in the palace, doing his duties very nicely as a as a son, husband, and also as to be the future crown prince of Ayodhya. And Dashrath Maharaj starts getting some inauspicious omens, and when he consults with his ministers, he comes to know that maybe there is something inauspicious that is going to befall upon him, and also that thing could even lead to his death. So on hearing this, he becomes very much concerned, and he wants that soon the Ramji is crowned as the crown prince. And therefore overnight arrangements are made to for this coronation. But we all know that how the Lord has his own plans, and mantra became the instrument, and thus Lord Ramchandra was exiled to the forest for 14 years, and Sita Devi and Lakshman, they also choose to accompany him. During the exile, they visit various ashrams of different sages. Yeah, just a moment. Just a minute. Okay, I'll just do the. Okay. So during the exile, they visit various ashrams of different sages and they reside at different places. Initially at Chitrakoot and then they move on to Panchavati. Living there over 13 years passed by. And Sita Devi, as we all know, she is Bhumija. She is born from Mother Earth herself. And therefore, it was not at all an austerity for her. Being, being coming being the Kumari, the Rajkumari of Mithila, still staying in forest was not at all austerity for her, because she is actually Mother Nature personified. Mm. She is born from the womb of Mother Earth, and therefore it was actually very much pleasurable for her to be so close to nature, which would not have been possible in the palace of Ayodhya. So and then, but unfortunately, we all know that how in the last year she was kidnapped by Ravan. How Ravan, he cheated Lord Ramachandra. We all know that he assumed Marichi, his maternal uncle. He somehow convinced Marichi to assume the form of a golden deer, and he took away. He kind of distracted Ram away from the kutir where they were living, and then he cries upon, in the voice of Lord Ram, that Lakshman, please come and help me. And that's when Sita Devi forces Lakshman, even though Lakshmanji was very confident that Lord Ramachandra is the supreme personality of Godhead, and nothing can happen to him. And Lakshmanji is even convinced, actually, it is said in the Ramayana, that he knows and he tells Lord Ramachandra that this golden deer actually is not, and he is not one of the creation of Brahmaji. He is not in one of the creations. He is a demon, actually. But Lord Ramachandra, what he says is, actually, Sita has never asked anything from me. Today is the first time that she's asking something from me, and therefore it's my duty that I should try to get it for her. But he says, he gives instructions to Lakshmanji that you be here and don't leave Sita at any cost. But then when that cry is heard of Marich, actually, who disguises the voice of Lord Ramachandra, that Lakshman, please come and save me. So at that time, Sita Maya gets very much disturbed, and she is not able to understand, even though Lakshmanji is trying to explain her that this is not Ramji's voice, nothing can happen to her, to him. But still, she speaks very insulting words to Lakshmanji, just out of actually her affection for Lord Ramachandra. She doesn't want to see any, any unpleasant thing happening to him. And thus he forces Lord Lakshmanji to go. And we all know that as Lakshmanji goes, Ravan's plan is nicely getting executed. He comes disguised as a Brahmana, and he forces, although Lakshmanji draws that Lakshman Rekha, that don't cross this boundary, but he forces Sita Maya to get come out of the Rekha, and he by cheating, by deceit, he kidnaps Mother Sita and takes her with him to the city of Lanka. So that's the background. And here is Sita Maya. No, here is Sita Maya, who is there in Ashok Vatika, very far, far away from her beloved Lord Sri Ram. And she is crying and praying for Lord Ram to come and take her away after killing the demon Ravan. So Sita Maya is in a very precarious, very miserable situation. That where she is constantly being regularly, Ravan is coming and visiting her. We know that Ravan's proposal was that Sita marries him and becomes his principal queen. But Sita Maya, as we all know, she is the mother of chastity. She is the supreme emblem of chastity. So there was no question of Sita Maya giving into his proposal. But he used to constantly come practically every day and terrorize her. First, he tried to do it lovingly, trying to show that he loves her, and which is actually nothing but lust. But then later on, he started even terrorizing her, that if you don't succumb to my desire, I will, cut you up into into pieces and eat you as my breakfast. And Lanka is not only Ravan is a demon, Lanka is the city of demons. And Ravan had deputed many Rakshasis to guard Sita and also to persuade her by hook or crook, either through love or through terror, to convince Mother Sita to accept Ravan's proposal and marry him. These Rakshasas used to really trouble and threaten Sita Devi, and used to, kind of depress her and make her feel very miserable by telling her different types of things. So some of the things they used to tell her were that, oh, you are such an unfortunate lady. Our Lord Ravan is the king of such a wealthy city like Lanka, which is completely, it is a golden city. We all know that actually Lanka did not belong to Ravan. It was the city of his cousin brother Kuber, and it was snatched away by Ravan. But still, they were like, oh, our Lord Ravan is the king of such a beautiful city, a golden city, and what do you have to see in that, forest dweller Sri Ram? Forest dweller Ram, he doesn't have anything. He is kicked out by his own countrymen. He is in the exile. He doesn't have anything. And what do you see in him? Oh, look at our Ravan. He is so great, wealthy, handsome, powerful, brave. Trilokapati. He is, the controller of all the three worlds. Actually, we all know that Ravan is not a ordinary personality. He was really very powerful. So they used to, somehow try to always keep on giving such, arguments to her. And then later on they used to also use the weapon of, terrorizing her, threatening her, that if you don't agree to his proposal, then we will also cut you up and eat you up eat you up as our breakfast. And in Valmiki Ramayana, further details are there. We read that Sita Devi was constantly being terrorized by these demons. And so many days had passed now. So now actually, Sita Maya is the consort of Lord Ramachandra. We very well know, and we know that how the consort, the energy of the Lord can never be separated from the energetic, that is, the source of the energy. But we all know that these pastimes happen for a reason, and there are many lessons to be learned for, the people, for the coming jivatmas, the people to come, so that we can live a life of dharma, and we can make our human life successful and practice bhakti nicely. So similarly, initially it seems Sita Maya was very hopeful that Lord Ramchandra will definitely find me, and he will definitely take me away one day. Lakshmanji will come, and they will kill this Ravan and take me away. But now, since so many days had passed, it's like sometimes it happens to us also. We are hopeful about some things in life, that this will definitely happen. But as time passes, and plus on the contrary, if we have association of people who are trying to brainwash us and take us in the in a reverse direction, then slowly, if we are not very strong, then even we may get distracted, and we may become weak in our determination. So although Sita Maya can never become weak, but as we are discussing, that this is all the leela of the Lord. So therefore Sita Maya also was getting slowly kind of she was losing her confidence, and she started thinking. Now this all is given in Valmiki Ramayana. Lot of things are being quoted. I will just like to share a few of them. Mm. Let's read. Hmm. So she's getting worried that this Ravan, he's such a great demon, but looks like that the demons are becoming so powerful in this day and age. My Lord Ram is not able to locate me, that I am here. And they looks like there's these demons, Ravan and these demonesses, are definitely going to eat me up as their breakfast. No, she's just thinking all these thoughts. It happens naturally, uh, because she's just playing, the role of, we know that Ramayana is, where Lord Ramchandra is Maryada Purushottam. He's behaving like a ordinary human being, although he's the supreme personality of Godhead, we all know. But that Lord Ramachandra's incarnation is there to show how an ideal human being should behave. Hmm? So therefore Sita Devi, although she is the supreme goddess of fortune, but as you know, as the learning examples for us now, these, because it's a natural tendency that negative thoughts always arise first. It's a default tendency of the conditioned soul, not of the pure devotees. And therefore something like that is happening here. So she is thinking that how, what can I do, and what can I do? I am so helpless, my husband is so far away from me, she doesn't even know where I am. So looks like definitely these demons are going to become powerful, and they are going to make, pieces of my body and eat me up in their breakfast. Then she's thinking that I am a looks like that I, for whom my life and soul is, the darshan of my husband Sri Ramachandra. But now due to the situations which have become so serious, looks like that I will not be able to have even the darshan of the lotus feet of my Lord Ramachandra, and I will have to take the darshan of Yamraj. So basically she is now thinking of giving up her body. So much, kind of suicidal mentality. Of course, again I repeat that these are just the lessons for us to learn. But here she is kind of feeling so hopeless and distressed, because one thing is because of her away from being from the Lord, and second because of the constant negativity that she is being exposed to. Therefore we are always, warned again and again that we have to be very sure what type of association we choose. And of course here she had no choice, but here just it is being highlighted that how a wrong type of association can be so, discouraging for even a person of strong faith and determination. So therefore she's thinking that looks like I'll have to end my body. And she's thinking that the elder brother of Bharat, that is Lord Sri Ram, maybe he doesn't even know that I am alive. Hmm? Because if he would have known that where I am, then he would have definitely, if searched for me. Hmm? But now I am feeling that looks like thinking that I am dead. Even he is, he has become very he has lost his taste, and he has also left this world and he has gone to the higher planets. Mm. And in the higher planets, the Gandharvas and the demigods and the Siddhas and the great sages, they are getting his darshan there. Mm. But then again he is thinking, she is thinking, that my Lord is not like that. No, he will not forget me so soon. So she's having mixed thoughts. So this was just some of the things. Actually, this was a very, kind of revealing thing to me when we were reading this. So therefore, I just thought of sharing that how basically she was becoming so despondent that she had come to the point of even giving up her life. But then here comes then, so similarly the scene is of one morning where all the demonesses are again terrorizing her. Same thing, same dialogue, same arguments, and she's again getting despondent and crying. But at this time comes this, character of Ramayana, and that is Mother Trijata. So Trijata, she comes and she shoves all the Rakshasis away, that please move from here, don't trouble Sita. She is Janaka Nandini. She is the dear consort of Lord Ram. So don't trouble her. And she tells that, you know what? I have seen a dream. And in that, when I share you the dream with you, you all will get so scared and you will run away. So please don't trouble her. And then this Trijata shares her dreams with the Rakshasis. And in her dream, she saw a lot of things, but in short, what she saw was different inauspicious omens, where, Ravan is, bathing in oil, he's wearing red clothes, black clothes, he's being, drawn by a chariot of donkeys, led by donkeys. And he's going in a direction which is very inauspicious. He's falling in a pool of, blood, and, all inauspicious and contaminated things. And simultaneously she sees that Lord Ramachandra along with Lakshmanji, he's coming and winning over, he's destroying Lanka and winning over Sita. She sees Sita Maya, Lakshmanji and Ramji seated on a chariot. So which were all indications that ultimately Lord Ramchandra is going to win over Ravan. Yes. And again, in Valmiki Ramayana, an important point is raised that this was actually a life changing, a very transforming event in the life of Mother Sita. Uh, because what happened was there was somebody who came to give her hope, to give her a ray of light. This becomes an important point, not just because of the dream that Trijata sees, but also because of the impact that Trijata's words have on Sita Maya. Trijata's words, they actually comfort Sita Devi, who at this point in life is completely scared and uncertain about her fate. Hmm. We can try to imagine how relieved Sita Maya would have felt by Trijata's presence. Hmm. To have someone save you from the rude behavior of strangers while you are held captive away from your loved ones is obviously the only silver lining you can see. And Trijata came as exactly that for Ma Sita. Mm. And if we see, pretty much when I was reading this, by Krishna's mercy, of course, Karnataka is in a very good shape, but other states like Maharashtra and Delhi, they are really still going through a lot of impact with this instrument of which has been come from China. So but actually if we see how that experience was, being completely locked down, and just you feel so disconnected from everything. You are away from devotees physically, away from darshan of the Lord, his devotees, satsang programs, Bhagavatam classes. So at that time there were many messages coming on WhatsApp, which even I myself got inspired. One of Sadhguru's messages, which the essence was that just don't invest your time and energy in the negative. Just focus on the positive, because what you think about, that thing you will energize that particular thing. And in the lectures also, we often hear this example of in the scriptures, it is there, good dog and bad dog. Mm. So if we keep feeding the bad dog, that is the negative emotions, negative thoughts, so then that dog becomes more and more powerful, and he barks all the more, and he subdues the good dog. But at the same time, if we, in spite of the negativity coming, if we just try to keep feeding the good dog with good thoughts, positive thoughts, then that good dog becomes eventually stronger, and it can subdue the bad dog. So actually the words of Mother Trijata were very much hope giving to Sita Maya in this precarious situation which we just read she was in. So this is a very, very important turning point in the life of Mother Sita. And even if we look back in our lives, such points, such transformations might have happened where we have been in very desperate situations, but someone through some lecture, some devotee, some quote of somebody we have read, and that has given us great hope. So this is very, very important, the coming of Trijata, and his her comforting words for Mother Sita. It is said that Trijata was a old Rakshasi, and she treated Mother Sita as her daughter, and therefore Sita Maya felt all the more very much comforted that there is somebody like a motherly figure who is there. So that is how the entry of Trijata happens. Okay. So as we normally, see in Prabhupada books, and that sometimes certain leela, certain pastime of the Lord is picked up, and the comparison is made. So even we will try to draw some comparisons at how this particular pastime that is happening, how I can how it can help us in a practical manner, and how we can apply it in our lives and be benefited by this particular pastime. So one comparison that we can do here is comparing the situation of Ma Sita with that of a living entity. So actually, if we see, we all Jivatmas were originally with the Supreme Personality of Godhead in Golok Vrindavan. Like how Mother Sita was originally happily lived for 13 years even in the forest of in the different forests. It didn't matter to her. The association of the Lord is the only thing that pure devotees wanting. So that's what our original constitutional position was. But the moment the living entity desires anything other than the Lord or his service, at that time he falls trapped to Maya. Like in this scenario, how, of course, these are learning lessons, I repeat. This is the Lord and the Supreme Goddess of Fortune, but this is for our benefit. So that how when Mother Sita, she desired the golden deer, although a little hint was given to her that this is not doesn't look like a ordinary deer, it is maybe some Mayavi Rakshasa, but she got so infatuated by the beauty of that golden deer that she insisted that no, I want him. So that was the breaking point where she where the whole event started, as we just discussed some time back. So when the living entity desires something to or to enjoy separately from the Lord, that is the point when Maya comes and attacks us. And in this case, Maya can be compared to Ravan. That he came and he kidnapped the so living entity gets kidnapped, we are taken away from our original constitution position in the association of Lord in Golok Vrindavan, and we fall into this material world, just like Sita Maya is now in Ravana's Lanka. Hmm. And then what happens when we are in this material world? This material world is so designed, it is designed itself to take us away from the Lord. So therefore, when we come down, when the Sita Maya came to Lanka, not that she was just alone, but she was constantly being bombarded with words, with arguments, with accusations through the different demonesses that was making her feel more and more lonely and depressed. So similarly, when we come to this material world, what happens? The material world is designed in a particular way that constantly we get negativity, and we it is designed in a way to take us away from the Lord. And this is a particular quote from Chaitanya Charitamrita, which says, Krishna bhuliya jiva bhoga vancha kare, nikatasthe maya tare jhapatiya dhare. So here it is being said that as soon as Krishna bhuliya jiva, jiva is the living entity, as soon as the living entity forgets Krishna and bhoga vancha kare, vancha is desire and bhog is sense enjoyment. So as soon as the living entity forgets Krishna and desires to enjoy something, you know, separate from the Lord, nikatasthe maya. Maya is actually, she's like, constantly waiting. She's on guard. Mm. Actually, we were hearing in some, we hear in many lectures, this analogy that actually when we start doing bhakti, we are declaring war against Maya. So when so suppose as long as many even devotees have experienced that before coming to bhakti everything was good, everything was happening nicely, relatives were happy, everybody was happy, no problems. But as soon as I started chanting, you know some all gadbad is happening, something or the other is happening, problems, this that. So what is the thing? Because actually this is like when you declare war against Maya, she will make all the efforts to defeat you. So she's nikatasthe. Nikat means very near. She's always standing near to Krishna only, because she's waiting, or rather near to us only, that as soon as we make a choice which is not Krishna conscious, she will immediately come and trap us. She'll immediately come and nikatasthe maya tare jhapati adhare. Jhapat means not that lovingly hold, means just grab, just forcibly grab someone away. So as soon as we make a choice which is not Krishna conscious, which is unfavorable to Krishna consciousness, immediately Maya grabs us and takes us in her control. So this is where this is from Chaitanya Charitamrita, and this is a very often commonly quoted verse. So this helps us to always be aware, and it's not only big choices; it could be even small day-to-day decisions. Where whatever it could be, many things. We all have our own experiences. So this can be our guideline for even our moment-to-moment choices, daily choices. That is this, as it is said that. Anukula Krishnasya. Whatever is favorable for Krishna consciousness, we should try to always make that choice. Initially that choice may look hard, difficult, to follow, and the other choice may look very easy and convenient. But that is what we have to be on guard. that we have to always try to make that choice which will be favorable for our Krishna consciousness. So that is one comparison and one kind of lesson that we can, draw from here, that we should always try to, make choices which are favorable to Krishna consciousness. Okay, but still, in case we land up, the Lord is very merciful. So in case we land up making a inappropriate choice, and now unfortunately, if we come into a situation where we are surrounded by negativity, like Sita Maya here, and we start feeling lonely and depressed, but still we should not lose our hope. Mm. That is what we, because the Lord, if we are sincere, and if we are really serious in our process of sadhana bhakti, then Lord will definitely send someone to give us that ray of hope. So that is one thing which the tree jata pastime can drive our attention to. Mm. That we should never lose our hope. Mm. Hope is very, very important. It is said that if everything else is lost, it's okay, but we should not lose our hope. If hope is lost, everything is lost. Recently only I was reading, it was, I think, the Nazis time. I don't know much about the history, but Nazis time, when these people were being assassinated, you know and they were kept in concentration camps, and they were really killed in a very, very cruel way, brutal way. One of the ways, one there was one particular time of the year when, after which, there used to be more deaths in the concentration camp. So then an study was made later on, that why it so happened. Because it seems that these people who were who were kind of holding these prisoners, they used to tell them, they used to make them feel that there was some festival of theirs which used to come once a year, that when this festival will come, we'll release you. But when that festival is to come, they used to not, still not release them. And then after that, there used to be more deaths compared to the remaining part of the year. Why? Because throughout the year, people used to have hope that now when this festival time is going to come, we will be released, we will be released. That hope kept them going. But when that festival used to come, and they used, because that was a technique, a tactics that these people were following to make them more miserable while dying. So cruel. But so then, when that festival used to pass and still they used to not be released, that hope which was making them live, the prisoners used to even lose that hope, and then they used to die. So hope is a very important factor in every person's life. So let us look at some definitions of hope. What is hope? A feeling of expectation and desire for a particular thing to happen. So that is, you are looking forward to something happening. That is hope. Hope is being able to see that there is light despite all of the darkness. So however dark it may be, still it is the hope that that gives us that faith that no, a ray of light will definitely come. It is said now that the more darker the light is, the brighter the morning appears. Or rather, the more dark the night gets, the closer is the time of sunrise, right? So it's so meaningful also. 12 o'clock, it's midnight, pitch dark. Then 1 o'clock is more dark. Slowly, as 3:30, the Brahma Muhurat starts coming. There is no brightness. So the more dark the night, that means closer is the morning, the sunrise. There was never a night or a problem that could defeat sunrise or hope. So hope is so powerful tool that there can be nothing that can defeat a hopeful person. Let your hopes, not your hurts, shape your future. Mm. So this is also very important. Sometimes we may have had so many experiences in our lives which may be little bitter, miserable, not so good. But they should not be the guiding force for us. Our guiding force should rather be those moments, although they may be less, but definitely we all have had moments which have gave us happiness, which have given us hope, which has given us motivation, which has given us positivity, which has make us feel confident in ourselves. We should always look out for those moments in life, and accordingly keep our future, shape our future accordingly, live our life by meditating more on those things which were positivity and hope giving, positive and hope giving. So that is, hope is a very, very important factor. And therefore the person who comes as an instrument to give hope becomes very near and dear to us, because he does something which actually is an instrument sent by God, by Krishna, to help us out in that difficult time. So therefore the hope is very, very important. Another article I was reading, written by Vishakha Mataji, Prabhupada disciple, where she's saying that, okay, now we know that we should have hope. So whom should we put our hope in? It's like, whom should we put our faith in? So again, Prabhupada has so many times made it very clear in his books that we should always put our faith in those people who will help us to move towards the true purpose of life. So in our case, it is devotees or spiritually inclined people. Because since they have that understanding of, who we are, who is God, and ultimately what are the principles which should be, valued upon in life, they will accordingly give us the right direction. Mm. But if we put our hope in the wrong type of people, we can land up in a more difficult and troubled situation. So if we look at one example, like hmm, for example, if anybody wants to share, they can also, share that, if we want to give any one example where one particular personality put his faith in, somebody, his faith was very good and pure, but if he put his faith in somebody who was not pure or who was not spiritually inclined, and how that ultimately, landed up into, misery. Would anybody like to share? We are just looking for one example from scriptures or whatever, from stories that we have heard, where one person put his or her faith in in a wrong person who was not, who had ill motives, who was selfish, and thereby the other person who put his faith, ultimately he got destroyed or he was not benefited. Is there any example that comes to our mind like that? We can, please share here.
Hare Krishna.
Yes, Mataji.
We have in the chat box, Manglapriya has shared Kaikai in Mantra.
Yes, and Mataji is very correct. Yes, Kaike and Mantra. If we look, yeah, sorry, Mataji, I could not read from the chat box. Thank you, Mataji. So, yes, as we know that Kaikai, I was so shocked actually, that Kaikai actually used to love Lord Ramchandra more even than Kaushalya. Actually, that is a fact. It is given that, so much she loved Lord Ram. But she's just, and that too only a knights association, not that for many months, she was, of course, initially she was getting influenced, but just some faith she put in mantra, and see how it happened. And also that question, nice example Mataji has given, that although she was in such positive association, no, Lord Ramchandra himself was there, all, Lakshman, Bharat, Shatrughna, they are also divine personalities, Dasharat Maharaj, great devotee, and our Kaushalya Devi, Sumitra Devi, all great devotees of the Lord. But just association of one person is enough, to overpower the association of, so many positive persons. So yes, that's an excellent example, that how she put her instead, if she would have taken guidance from, Sumitra, or, if not comfortable Kaushalya, Sumitra or somebody, how it would have been a wonderful experience. Yes, and then another examples we can take from the Ramayana itself is, Ravana himself, when he called, it is written in Valmiki Ramayana that he calls his council of ministers, and he seeks advice. uh, so he gets advice from both the type of people who are spiritually inclined and dharmic, and people who are not so. So he got advice from Vibhishan that, what you have done is not good. Sita Maya is not your property. She's property of, she's somebody else's wife, and you please return Mother Sita to him, to Lord Ramachandra. And even Kumbhakarna told him, even his own wife Mandodari, she gave him good counsel so many times, but Ravan did not listen to her. Rather, he chose to put his hope, put his faith, listen to follow the guidance of his other ministers, who were nothing but to just pepped him up for nothing, and they did not have any spiritual light to give guidance. So that is also very important, that in times of difficulty, whom we turn on to, So it is very important that we turn on to, we seek, we put our faith and hope in those people who have the correct, understanding of life. And the correct understanding is the spiritual understanding. Sometimes we may feel that, no, but this person is very sweet to me, very dear to me, okay, but if the spiritual understanding is lacking, then there is a great chance that, the guidance given may not be, the best one. So that is also, when we put our faith, we put our hope, we should be very careful in choosing whom we are putting our hope in. Also, now can we take now another example? Can somebody share of somebody putting of their faith, their hope, looking for hope? Basically, when you're depressed, you look upon someone that this person will give me hope, right? Everybody needs hope. So somebody looked upon for hope in someone, and the correct guidance just, made his life successful. Would anybody would like to share such positive example?
Can you read, Mataji? Again, Mangalapriya said Dhruva and Suniti.
Yes, yeah, now I can read. Yes, the chat box. Yeah, thank you, Alini Mataji. Yes, Dhruva and Suniti, correct. Even, tabla. Okay. So yes, Dhruva and Suniti, exactly. So Dhruva was so miserable, and actually he was heartbroken. Heartbroken is a critical time when you really look for some hope and faith. So Dhruva was so much heartbroken, and then he goes, and his counsel is, Sunniti Devi, and she gives him such good and, counsel, and she's a devotee. Therefore, she is guiding, to Dhruv to worship Lord Narayan. And when he asks where is Lord Narayan, she says that I have heard that Lord Narayan is, sages normally worship and, him in the forest, and that's how he is guided. And then he meets again Narad Muni. Narad Muni tests him. So yes, and then yes, I am reading all wonderful other examples. Arjuna and Krishna, wonderful. That's how the whole Bhagavad Gita invented. If Arjuna would have not been a devotee and would have gone to somebody else for counsel, we don't know what would have happened. Definitely, Bhagavad Gita would have not invented, which is the ray of hope for so many people in this entire world. Yes, yes, Vibhishan and Ram, Sugriva and Lord Ram. Yes, Draupadi and Krishna also wonderful. When Draupadi's surrender happens, after that she is so despondent, which is very natural. Such a great calamity befallen upon her. But when she, listens to Krishna and, the perfect, guide, then that time how they are able, the Pandavas are able to gather so much courage and, avenge this and, have this war for dharma, not for personal this, but for establishing dharma. Yes, so we have so many examples. Thank you very much. Yes, so that is important, that when we have to put our hope, we need to make the right choices whom to put our hope in. Yes, okay. So yes, that's what a few examples of hope we just, discussed. Okay, 1 minute. Seconds. And finally we can come to is the lessons learned, as we were discussing, that every pastime that happens, basically it is for us to learn, it is for us to learn some lessons and, apply that in our lives, and, help us, that will help us to grow in our spirituality. Okay, so why don't we just keep it a, open session for a few minutes? So what do we all think, what are the lessons which we can draw from all that we, just heard, and, that pastime that happened with Trijata? Can anybody, we can share in the chat box now. Yes, I can read from here. I figured out where is the chat. So Matajis, can please feel free, to share what do they feel are, some of the lessons that we, we have learned from this particular pastime that happened. Maybe we can just imagine ourselves in that situation, and, so then what are the lessons which we can draw, which can help us and others, in their lives.
There's one already. Be Krishna conscious and be positive.
Yes, correct. Be Krishna conscious and be positive. Very important that, yeah, we should never lose hope. Be positive. Yes. And we already discussed a lot about it. So I think, yeah, that is very good. And we saw examples also that however difficult be the situation, but we should always try to, uh, keep taking shelter and be positive. Yes. Yes. Suvarna Vihar Mataji is sharing. Always look for people who give hope and faith. Yeah, that's also very, very apt. That how, because you are what you associate with. So therefore, if and that will all this will always help us to be, to be hopeful. And yes, faith. And for us, it is also that increase our faith in, uh, in this mission, in this path of sadhana bhakti that we are following. So that that adds, more, it becomes, like, the icing on the cake. So faith in Krishna. So then that takes us little more ahead and towards Krishna. Yes. Anything else anybody wants to share? Yes, I will just share 2 points that I also just made. Yes, first is never lose hope, be positive, correct, and the other was, yes, like how Prabhupada had hope and we had faith in his words and instructions. Yes, correct. Mataji is a perfect example of Prabhupada. Actually, Prabhupada Lilamrit, if we read, its initial so many, pages are full of all the struggles that Prabhupada is going through. Correct. That uh, amazing. Prabhupada is an amazing example of never give up faith. Yes, that's amazing. And to put faith in the right person. And for most of us, and most of us, have our, shiksha gurus and diksha gurus. Actually, that was one point good it came up. I forgot that, who can be these hope giving people. Sometimes our initiating spiritual masters, the diksha gurus, may not always be physically present to give us guidance. It's not practically possible because they are preaching, they are always traveling. That's the service which Prabhupada has given them, that you have to keep traveling and preaching, and so many other services they take up on behalf of, ISKCON. So ये दरवाजा लगा देना. So it may not always be possible, right? So then that's where, our shiksha gurus come into picture. And it could be any of our devotee friend also, not that we need to have big labels given to them. It could be anybody, who can be inspiring us. So it could be so many people around us, who can be our shiksha gurus, our friends, our our friends, our anybody. Actually, if we look for, then we can get to learn a lesson from anyone and everyone. So yes, so therefore Prabhupada having immense faith, and in the words of his spiritual master, and how that amazing determination, it led to what it is today. It was not only his, that he was some magician and overnight he just drew a magic wand and ISKCON ban gaya. Not like that. Actually, Radha Ras Bihari itself is, the temple is a great, it has, Prabhupada went through so much to, get that land. Mr. N was trying to cheat devotees full black and white, but Prabhupada did not give up, and he just continued. And Krishna tests, yes, because the next point, Radha Chandrika Mataji sharing, there will always be testing times. We should get the strength with the association of devotees. So there will always be testing times, yes. But then we gather strength to association when we talk to devotees, when we read something and we share, when we hear something from our devotee friends, what they have read, Bhagavatam classes, other classes which happen, then those are our sources of inspiration. And then there are at the same time people who help us out. Yes, very nice point. So yes, and another 2 points was, one is you can be a devotee irrespective of whatever external situations may be. So if we look at Trijata, although she's full and full, she's in the body of a demoness, she's born a demoness, she's in association of, demons all the time, in and out she's with demons only. But if you see at the heart, she is such a great devotee. So normally devotees, they don't have any, there is no who is devotee. Devotee is basically, Prabhupada said, devotee is one who has compassion for others. Para dukkha dukhi. is a devotee. So when Trijata saw that Sita Devi is in so much trouble and grief, so then she also felt that same experience. So that is a devotee. A devotee by heart is very compassionate and wants to help other in their difficult situations. So Trijata is one example. Vibhishan is another example. So sometimes when external situations become very hard, still we should not give up, because if the desire is there to stay, to follow, then Krishna will definitely give us the strength. So external situations may not always determine our bhakti. Prahlad Maharaj, again, devotee demon family. He is the son of Hiranyakashipu, greatest demon ever can be, but he is a great devotee. Vritrasur is another example. If we know this pastime, where Vritrasur, actually there is this king. What is his name? I forget. Mm, Uh, sorry.
Chitragupta. Chitraketu.
Chitraketu, yes, Chitraketu Maharaj, yes. He gets cursed and he becomes, demon. So, and he is then giving gyan to Indra. Indra is the head of demigods. Demigods are supposed to be the greatest devotees of the Lord. But in their fight, Vitrasur is telling Indra, why are you running away? Indra, Vishnu has told you that the thunderbolt which you have made from the bones of the Dichi Rishi will kill me. No, Vritrasur is going to get killed. But Vritrasur, because he's so powerful and he's trying to fight as a duty, as a demon, Indra is losing faith in Krishna, that whether this thunderbolt will Vajra will actually kill or not, and he's trying to kind of run away. And then Vritrasur is telling him, no, come back and fight. Have complete faith in what the Lord has told, that this bolt will definitely kill me. So again, so we should. That's how that also connects us to that. All these devotees, although they were in so much adverse situations, but they had immense faith and they had so much courage. Now for Trijata to if Ravan is like Ravan, one of the most cruel personalities also. If Ravan comes to know that I am trying to give comfort here to Sita, he wants her to be miserable, then he will just kill me only instantly. But she didn't, she was very brave and courageous. Same thing like Prahlad Maharaj. We have heard in lectures when Hiranyakashipu used to ask, what have you learned in Gurukul? Prahlad Maharaj, for the just to keep things peaceful, he could have easily said that, okay, this is this science, math, English, whatever. But no, Prahlad Maharaj was very courageous, very brave, and he used to always give the proper answer. Same like Vibhishan. When Ravan asked for guidance, he did not get scared that, my God, I am surrounded by all demons only here. If I say anything against Ravan, I will be killed for sure. He did not have that fear. That faith in the Lord, that bhakti gave him that courage, gave all these devotees the courage to always speak whatever is needful in favor of the Lord, and also execute their bhakti. So this is common qualities for all these devotees, and all of them being born in demon families. What adverse condition can be more than this? But still they had immense faith, bravery to execute their bhakti. And also it helps us, links us to another point, that don't judge, we should not judge any person just based on their externals, which commonly happens, right? So, and of course, we should never do that. We are always told that time and again, that we should never try to judge anybody just based on the externals. We don't know what that person, Prabhupada used to say, that you don't know who the person is who is sitting next to you. They could be, you don't know who they are, how much bhakti they have done in their past life. And, just one second. So Prabhupada used to always say that you never know who is the devotee sitting next to you, right? So therefore Prabhupada always taught us to, respect each and every devotee, even a newcomer who has just come for the first time in the temple. You never know. He or she might have done already 80% of her bhakti in the previous life, and now they are coming just to complete that remaining 10 or 20%. So therefore we should never ever judge anybody. And if we look at, okay, we are at least human beings, but this Trijata, Vritrasur was actually, the description is given in Bhagavatam, he was actually very furious, ferocious looking demon. But he was a devotee at heart. So therefore we should never judge anybody just based on their externals. That is another lesson which we can draw from here. And always And as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu used to say that we should not criticize others and always chant Hare Krishna. Always look for the good in others and chant Hare Krishna. So anything anybody wants to add? I think these are the points on lessons learned. Always be in association of devotees, look for people who help you to feel positive and encouraged in your Krishna consciousness. And of course, so that is, and as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, and it's that we should always look for the good in others. And there was one more point. Yes. And at the same time, one more important thing that we can do is we ourselves can try to become instruments of hope for somebody. Why not? Because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said no, that everybody can become a guru. It's not that that we only when a particular label will come, only then. Because it's basically just as we said, a devotee, a bhakta is paradukka dukhi. So when we see somebody else in a difficult situation, going through some tough times in life, no, there goes nothing wrong in just lending a helping hand to that person. In whatever we can, as per the time place situation. Sometimes it could be just some words of kindness. It may not be always necessary always to speak big philosophy. Sometimes that person may just need some words of how are you, is everything okay, you know can I help you in any way, right? Just some things can just give a big spark of hope and faith. Like Trijata did not speak any big philosophy to Sita Devi here. uh, but just that the most thing which she needed was just some comfort, some gesture of love and affection, and which she got from Mother Trijata. So that itself was a great thing for Chitamaya. So we should, why not try to become instruments, and it could be in any small way. We don't have to go to prove to anyone. Or it's just a basic thing. Whenever we meet anyone, we talk to anyone, or in whatever way, we all can become instruments of compassion in our own manner. Of course, we cannot, like, where is Prabhupada and where is Suniti Devi, or where is like Krishna guiding Arjuna, of course. But that doesn't mean that we cannot do anything. At our own levels, we should try to do just like that sparrow. Where she has the capacity to drive the ocean, not possible only, but she tried to do our best. So similarly, in Krishna consciousness, we are always encouraged that whatever level we may be in, that is okay, but whatever help we can do, being in that according to our own capacities, still we should try to do. So why not we also try to become instruments of hope for someone in any way, big or small? Nobody is stopping us from doing that. But that could definitely bring such a change in somebody's life that we may not even realize, because we are just instrument. What effect we will have, that only Krishna, on somebody else, that is in Krishna's hand. But we should always, we can try to become the instrument. So we learn the lesson, at the same time even we try to become one, in whatever way, in whatever capacity we can. So that is one thing which we can try to do from our side, that we ourselves can try to become instruments of hope. So thank you very much, and I would like to pause here, and very grateful for this opportunity. Please forgive me if something I said which was not proper, but just try to gather some points and put them in slides and share. So very thankful. So anything anybody wants to add, please feel comfortable, and I think if we have some time, we can just you know uh, yes, Vaishnavis can please add or comment anything they want to add here, add now.